The New Jersey Devils have a huge matchup coming on Thursday night as their playoff hopes and prayers continue to roll on as we get closer to the end of the season. And Jesper Bratt, man, just look at that face. I'm Ryan the Goose Gosiker, your host here on Devils Digest. We're going to break it all down. The Devils' huge matchup with the Calgary Flames coming up at home on Thursday night. But first, I want to give you a chance to be one of our first subscribers here to the channel. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and we'll get right into the show. Now, the Devils have been playing some better hockey. It's not the sexiest hockey in the world, but they have found a way to be 4-1 in their last 5 games, and certainly that is no coincidence. But going into this next stretch against Calgary, red-hot Ottawa on Saturday, all right, so there's a lot to go through, but we're going to stick to Calgary for this video. You know, it's always tough to get a feel of how the team is feeling, but I just want to take a look at this quote from Sheldon Keefe. And he's talking about meeting the moment, right? Whether it's a mindset, competitiveness, or urgency, right? And that's something that you have heard not only from myself, but Aiden as well here on Devils Digest, is there's got to be a sense of urgency, right? I mean, we talked about it with Nemec when he wasn't playing well. This, that, and the other thing, other guys up and down the lineup, there has to be a level of urgency right now. There are some guys that are playing with that sense of urgency who we will get to, but certainly a big moment for the Devils. Every game, every 2 points is monumental because, again, while their playoff odds right now sit at over 96%, certainly things have happened, and that 4% still counts for something, right? So things can happen, and the Devils know they have to continue to play good hockey. Going back to last week, they played, I would say, relatively great hockey, except for Saturday in Pittsburgh, where they just look like an AAU version of a hockey team. They did not look good. But I will say, going into this big matchup, you are going to go with the guy who you traded a first-round pick for. The reason the Devils won't have a pick in June is Jacob Markstrom. And despite the struggles, Sheldon Keefe has remained committed to him. You could see it here above in this tweet. He will start tomorrow night. Jake Allen will get Saturday against the Senators. There's going to be a lot of questions and controversy around this, in my opinion. It's really up to Jacob Markstrom to kind of silence the haters and silence the questions by going out there and having a great performance. If he does, it'll shut a lot of people up. If he doesn't, it's only going to elevate the noise to put pressure on Jake Allen if he performs well on Saturday against the Senators. Now you're talking about a full-blown goalie controversy. Right now, I think it's kind of like in the brewing stages. I think these next 2 games, if Markstrom struggles and Allen is successful on Saturday against the Senators, man, there is going to be a lot of noise for Monday night when Vancouver comes to town. So Jacob Markstrom will start against his former team. Maybe that's why Sheldon Keefe's doing it. I don't know. But certainly the guy, again, the reason you don't have a first-round pick this year has got to be the guy that's got to start some of these games down the stretch. You're not just going to shut him down and shut him out. Jacob Markstrom needs to come back. He needs to bounce back. And what a time to do it against your former team, right? I mean, this is a big game for Calgary as well. If you look at these standings right here, Calgary's 2 points out of a wild card spot with a game in hand on Vancouver, right? So every point for them matters as well. We'll talk a little bit about that. I know they beat the Rangers the other night, which, as a Devil fan, we can all kind of celebrate, right? But it's really important for both teams to get points here. And I emphasis points, right? 1 is just not enough at this stage in the game. Although you'd rather get 1 than none. You'd rather get 2 than 1, right? 2 is greater than 1. I believe I took a math class every once in a while. Okay. The Devils need points. Calgary needs points to set up for a great tilt at the Rock on Thursday night. It's going to be exciting. And you just look at this Devils team and where they've been carried. It's Jake Allen. I mean, look at that save percentage over his last 3 starts, really since the calendar flipped to March. And you know who he reminds me of? Speaking of flipping the calendar to March, it's got to be a guy like Timo Meier, right? Timo Meier, 5 goals in 9 games in March. Last year, he had 13 goals in 15 games in March, so he did have a hat trick in there as well. So maybe that's still to come this month. But Jake Allen right now is playing like Timo Meier. As soon as the calendar flipped to March, he's become elite, and he's become a guy that people remember. And he, and by remember, I mean the guy when he won a Stanley Cup, the big driving force there in St. Louis. Jake Allen has really risen to the challenge, and I want to put an emphasis on that Columbus game because he saved, I believe it was 44 or 45 shots in that game. It was remarkable the Devils walked out of there. Forget owing him one steak dinner. I think each guy owes him a steak dinner after a performance like that. Jake Allen was spectacular in Columbus, and he really made the most of his opportunity and has in the month of March. Maybe this is Allen Madness. I don't know, replacing March Madness for a second, but he has been everything the Devils had hoped he'd be as a backup and more, right? Your backup, you want to take over in case of injury, which he did a great job when Jacob Markstrom was out. But now, even when the starter is struggling, he has become elite, and he has done things that we haven't seen in a while. I mean, I think he may have had a stretch or two last year, and of course over the years, but Jake Allen has been spectacular and in net, and the Devils have needed it. And even more so here, he leads the NHL's 48, I believe that says, most used goaltenders in save percentage since the calendar year flipped. Okay, that is just really impressive. Jake Allen has been outstanding for this New Jersey team, and they are where they are with this plus, 96.5% chance to make the playoffs. They're there in large part, to Jake Allen. Now, the other huge part of why they're there, a little bit of Timo Meier, who we mentioned a little bit, obviously starting to get going, starting to heat up, but it's Jesper Bratt. Jesper Bratt has been spectacular, as always, and we just want to take a look. And, this has started to circle the wagons a little bit more, not fully nationally, but maybe regionally. It's getting a little bit more coverage about Jesper Bratt and just how good he is across the board. And he is, you could see it here. He's up there. I believe he's currently 5th in assists in the league. He's tied for 8th in points across the entire National Hockey League. This is a guy who, and by the way, was a 6th-round pick. He's been the steal of the century for the Devils to get him in the 6th round. So Jesper Bratt has been amazing. He's been everything the Devils needed. Look at this. Just look at those game logs. That's absurd. This guy has had, 10 points in 4 games? I mean, he's on a heater right now that you probably haven't seen since college. This guy has been just rolling right now, and you see those 3 straight 3-point games was spectacular. And I just have to mention that in that game, in one of those games, I should say, Jesper Bratt became the Devils' single-season assist record holder with 60 assists, and he's surely going to shatter that if he continues to play at anywhere close to the level that he has, which the Devils need him to do. Now, the Devils have gotten a little bit more contribution from the bottom 6. Cody Glass is a point-per-game scorer since he came to New Jersey. Very minimal sample size, so don't go out and put your betting tickets on Cody Glass to be the next Michael Jordan or Wayne Gretzky. Okay, relax. But he certainly has been a great addition to this team. But Jesper Bratt has been leading from the front. Same thing with Captain Nico Hischier and Timo Meier, as we mentioned. It's Meier March. Okay, he's red hot right now. Jake Allen is red hot in March. Jesper Bratt has seemed to find his way. This Devils team needs these guys to continue. I will say this. They do need the continued production from the bottom 6. Okay, Glass, as we mentioned, has been good. Sprong has looked okay in there. Good relative to the Devils' other bottom 6 options. Okay, Haula has seemed to look better and looks like he actually knows where he's playing now. Okay, he's looked a little bit more comfortable. Okay, Lazar and Bastian kind of need you guys to get off the schneid. Bastian, he scored the other night, but then it got called back because he was offside, so that's a cheating goal. That doesn't really count, okay? And it doesn't count on the scoreboard, so it doesn't matter. But they need a little bit more production out of those guys. I expect a goal maybe out of Paul Cotter, a guy that's been trying to get some of his opportunities to go. I expect the Devils to beat Calgary, okay? And the Devils should expect to beat Calgary. This is a game you got to take care of business. The Devils have been off since, Monday night. Okay, they need to come out fired up at home. I'll be up there in section 132. That's why the jersey's not on tonight. It'll be on after the game, doing post-game reaction tomorrow night. Okay, but they need to come out and they need to make a statement. Okay, that's the one thing the Devils have always lacked, and it's always bothered me, is the lack of home ice advantage. You go to other places and you just go, man, it's 70-30 chance we're going to, 70% chance that we're in trouble, that we're going to lose, and 30% chance we're going to win. Why? Because it's just a raucous environment. Prudential Center has the fans, has the craziness. It needs a reason. And the Devils don't play well enough at home. They need to continue to get better and make a statement at home against the Calgary Flames. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Devils goaltender situation. Jesper Bratt, where is he? This is going to be an interesting long-term discussion about where he's going to end up falling in the ranks of the Devils greats, because he's certainly planting himself right now. But in the moment, he needs to continue to be that leader and continue to score. And again, congratulations on the single season assist record going to Jesper Bratt. And man, you just can't be happier for a guy. He is just so awesome, so much fun. And the moves and the stopping and the cutting, this, that, and the other thing, he's just awesome. So leave us a comment. Where do you think Jesper Bratt's going to find himself in the Devils greats by the time he retires, which hopefully is not for a long decade, hopefully at least. Okay, and then what should the Devils do at goaltender? Did Sheldon Keefe make the right call going with Jacob Markstrom over Jake Allen against the Flames? Again, we'll find out tomorrow night at The Rock, but leave me a comment what you think if you catch this before the game. If not, I'll see you for the post game. I'm Ryan the Goose Gosiker here on Devils Digest. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you next time on Devils Digest.